I love video game music.
I love bread.
I know, controversial opinion most likely, but I guess I'm just not like other girlies. Fortunately, most video game music is at least, at a baseline, good. We play God of War Ragnarok, and we know to expect something good from Bear McCreary. Or, we play a Final Fantasy game, scored by Nobuo Uematsu, and we know it's going to be just a stone-cold serve. But, what about those songs or soundtracks that come out of fucking nowhere? That, given their context, have just no business being as good as they are. Well, that's what I want to address in this video by giving a few video game songs or soundtracks that are genuinely surprisingly good. A disclaimer first, though, that this is by no means a complete list or even a definitive top 7. Also, I would love to hear from everyone what songs or soundtracks that they think are amazing absolutely out of nowhere, mainly because I want to expand my own personal playlist. Anyway, in no particular order, number 1 is Pinout. The first time I played this game was on an airplane after I saw, I think it might have been a GameRanks video, mention the game, and I needed something to do. Little did I know that this little pinball game would have some of my favorite music, period. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game. It'll kill some time while you're sitting around with nothing to do. Basically, you shoot the pinball up through a track of connected levels by overcoming environmental hurdles, and with each area comes a new song. The music in the first area is pretty, standard, kind of like a low techno tutorial, kind of reminiscent of Crypt of the Necrodancer's tutorial. Then you get to the second area, and the composer starts putting his whole pussy into it. Color me surprised when I heard the vocals kick in, and then color me even more surprised when it was actually good. Really good. Like, the music in the first 2 areas was fine, but that's kind of what I expected the music to generally be like. That is, I expected it to be kind of chill, low-key, 1980s-ish electronic music. Instead, it was bangin' electronic music. Just listen to my favorite song, Something Beneath, as it transitions from the previous level. I absolutely adore that song and how it fades in from the level transition zone, and I would recommend listening to the rest of the soundtrack. Truly, this is the epitome of having no business being so good. Just this amazing music on a pretty alright pinball game for no reason on the App Store. Number 2 is Super Hexagon, which is sort of the same vibe with the synthy electronic music. The music here is more high tempo, which does feel very appropriate given the flashy colors and frantic gameplay, but again, surprise surprise when it slaps so hard.
Triangle.
I have so much to say about the other games, but this one just kind of speaks for itself, I guess. It's a small, relatively simple game, but the music is just psychotic. But in like a cute way. Otherwise, I don't really have much to say about this one. Good music. Good job, game. For number 3, I really had to debate on including it since it might not fit with the thesis of this video, but then I remembered it's my video and I can do whatever the fuck I want. So number 3 is Lady Maria's battle theme from Bloodborne. To me, the real magic of Bloodborne's soundtrack is that it is recorded with a live orchestra, unlike the Dark Souls games. I'll admit that I live in a bubble, but I've never actually heard anyone say anything bad about the quality of the Bloodborne soundtrack. Anyone that I've ever heard talk about it has nothing but good things to say about it. The entire soundtrack is pretty great overall, so I'm not sure that, again, this strictly fits into this video, but the reason I'm including this one is because the fight music for Lady Maria is basically the only piece that has ever really stuck with me out of Bloodborne. Like I said, it's all good, but they do just kind of blend together for me. Very soundtracky rather than, I don't know, music-y, you know? Lady Maria's theme, though, especially the transition from Phase 1 to Phase 2, is an absolute breakout hit from the rest of the soundtrack. It's not unlike the satisfaction I get from Lady Gaga's Chromatica 2 into 911 transition. That Batman video with those is an absolute treasure. That transition is so great, made 100 times better with the Batman video. And with that scene with Uma Thurman, you really couldn't ask for more in a mashup video like that. But that's not really the topic here. Anyway, Lady Maria, A+, peak, no notes. Number 4 is Albedo's theme from Xenosaga 1, which, like the last one, might be kind of a cheat for this video, but I can do what I want. The problem with Xenosaga 1 and 3 is that the music through both of those is absolutely amazing. I mean, they are some of my favorite soundtracks of all time, to the extent that I have regularly listened to them since at least 2008. Oh my god. Anyway, what they do particularly well, and what makes the music so memorable, is that they are all unique pieces unto themselves. A lot of modern video game soundtracks are just that, soundtracks. Music and sounds mixed together to add ambiance to the backgrounds. They often lack a recognizable melody and work better as set dressing rather than standing out on their own. In Xenosaga, however, each piece has a life of its own. I will admit that some of the pieces can overshadow the scene rather than add to it. But Albedo's is truly nothing like that. Well, mostly. Broadly speaking, the scene is greater than the sum of its parts. Without giving too much away, I'm probably going to give too much away, Albedo is one of the main villains of the first 2 games, and he is a staunch proponent of Cocoa Puffs. Just off his rocker crazy.
You'll make me feel like a Pesce myself. Was that a glimpse of a man that I caught in your heart?
In this scene, which is where this piece first shows up, You're shown firsthand just how fucking crazy he is, and that eerie music slowly builds up into a crescendo with that, I don't know, wailing, strained operatic voice. It actually reminds me of Metaphor Refantasio, but that's another video. It then fades into that brief piano interlude that would really find itself at home in an 80s horror thriller movie, definitely giving off Halloween. Is it Halloween vibes? I don't know. Halloween, Freddy Krueger, whatever that, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th, they all blend together. Either way, literally, Yasunori Mitsuda did not need to put his whole pussy into it like this. And this is just one song. Like I said, the entire soundtrack is full of standalone hits, but there's just something about the weird, creepy terror of this one that warrants special recognition. Also, as a brief PS, I just learned that the music of the first game is performed by a live orchestra. I had absolutely no idea until I was looking up something for this video. In hindsight, it makes so much sense and explains why it's got such a rich, wonderful quality to it. I truly cannot believe that I did not know that before. On to number 5, I want to talk about a couple of Romancing Saga minstrel songs composed by Kenji Ito. Specifically, 2 pieces of battle music. First is the main battle theme titled A Prelude to Bloodshed, which is sort of the amuse-bouche for the second one. The battle theme, to me, kind of comes out of nowhere because everything you've heard up until this point is kind of like gentle and orchestral. For example, the title screen music and the Crystal City. Very gentle, with some light strings and, I think, wind instruments somewhere in there. Very fitting for being in a, knights and villains kind of JRPG where you travel the world. Then, you get into a battle. You bump into an enemy, and then suddenly you have a synth rock concert blasting out at you. I do love some subverted expectations when what they're subverted with is actually fierce. Now you might think, oh, that's cool. I bet all the battle music has that same kind of vibe. And that's where you would be wrong, because before long, you're going to run into the song titled Ardent Rhythm, or Passionate Rhythm, depending on where you find it, maybe something else entirely.
Nobody expects the
Spanish scatting diva.
It is so far out of left fucking field that it crosses back over into right field. I can't tell you how often I would get into the battles that play this music and just leave the music going without actually playing the game. Keep in mind that this was in 2005 and I didn't have an iPod or a smartphone or any other way to really easily listen to it. The rest of the soundtrack is really good on its own, and there are even a couple of other sleeper hits, but Ardent Rhythm handily blows them all out of the water. On another related note, another postscript here, while researching the songs for Minstrel Song, I ran across the song Melodies of Good and Evil, and a sudden, jarring sense memory flashback, like
Did I die?
just suddenly got transported back to sitting at my CRT computer monitor listening to the song play on the Live 365 online radio station for Square Enix while grinding out experience in RuneScape, probably mining. I'm not sure if I'm going to psychologically recover from the shock of this. Anyway, number 6 is the song titled The Darkstone Will Shine by Audryn from the game Darkstone. Again, I think that it's by Audryn, and I think it's called The Darkstone Will Shine, but if you're not sure, just look up Darkstone and you will definitely find it. This game has always had a special place in my heart because of nostalgia reasons, but the music in it is mid at best, and even that might be giving it a little too much credit. It's just very functional in that it's mostly ambient sounds with sparse instrumentation to set the mood. I literally cannot even find an individual track list, but here are a couple snippets just to sort of illustrate the point here. It does the job, it's fine, whatever. On the flip side, though, here's what happens when you toss a coin to your songstress in town.
You'll never find a shelter, a mountain too high. Save your soul. You gotta fight, step by step. You'll find a way to save your soul. Oh, the darkstone will shine, the darkstone will shine.
Where do they get off doing this? This is such a banger out of nowhere. When I tell you, people listen to this so much in-game that the part of the rented disc from my local video store would not work anymore. People listened to it so much that the disc essentially broke and would not play that sound there. Infuriating, but it's just so good. Like I said, the rest of the music and the game are middling at best. Nothing to write home about, but this song just shows up and takes the entire stage like that one Mario Party game. Before I finish this list, I have a couple of honorable mentions that don't quite fit the rules of this video, but are just close enough that I feel like mentioning them here. First is Sayonara Wild Hearts. Music is kind of the whole focus of that game, and they absolutely read the assignment. I had basically every voiced track from the game in one format or another. And I even have the vinyl, which just recently re-released. Such an amazing soundtrack, but of course, the whole focus is music, so it doesn't really fit this video. Except for this honorable mention section. Also, Kingdom Hearts, all of them. Particularly the opening cutscenes and, I'm gonna try to pronounce this correctly, Scherzo di Notte, which is the battle music in Hollow Bastion. I definitely couldn't include that in the list because, I mean, honestly, it's a Square Enix game on the PS2. They had damn well better have good music, you know?
You know?
For the last one is Totenensel.
Die Toteninsel.
From the Signalis soundtrack. The music in Signalis is also very background vibe soundtrack rather than actual songs or pieces. And that's fine because it's absolutely effective at setting that vibe of sheer terror. However, it's that exact dichotomy as well as the timing in the game of Die
Toteninsel.
that makes it so heart-wrenching and effective. I literally cannot hear it without tearing up. I was driving home from the store and it came on, and I had to just kind of like take a moment to myself in the car on the way back because I was starting to tear up, and I need to be able to see, you know? It's only in the honorable mentions because it just fits the rest of the game too well for my made-up vibe list here. The last one in this list is like half the soundtrack for the game Eternal Poison. Now, if you're not familiar with Eternal Poison, you're in good company with literally everyone else in the world but me. In short, it's a bonkers, gothic, tactical RPG developed by Atlas because they actually have done stuff other than the Shin Megami Tensei series. In the past, at least. I literally forgot until writing this that I actually have a partial playthrough of it on the channel, so I guess you can take a look there if you want. Anyway, the game has a lot of music that is just fine. It serves the purpose, kind of nothing more. For example, here's some music from the home base. Again, it does the job. The normal battle music is also just what it needs to be, very functional, gives your ears something to do while you're fighting without being distracted. All well and good, wouldn't be mad to hear it. That said, there's some other pieces of battle music that are a bit better. For example, whenever a choir starts chiming in, you know shit's about to kick off. Like, a lot of other music is the equivalent of that kind of off-white apartment wall color, neither good nor bad, just there. So it's the sudden difference from beige to the king in yellow. And then on the other side of the music spectrum is this haunting choral piece that I truly just don't know the name of. I'd say this one is just a touch weaker than the last one to me, but I still absolutely love it. I actually think they usually end up playing pretty close together in the game, so that's some nice tonal whiplash. I remember I used to listen to this one quite a lot, and I remember trying to find the piano sheet music for it so I could play it myself. Even though it's not as dramatic as number 6, again, when you compare it to the more middle-of-the-road background music elsewhere in the game, then it really stands head and shoulders above the rest. And that's it! If you made it to this point, please like and subscribe first, and then give me more examples of video game music that is just absolutely fantastic out of absolutely nowhere. I might even do a second video if I get some good ones. With that being said, see you all next time.